Welcome to Natural History Nights. Today's episode tells the tale of Nara the Capybara. Lay back, close your eyes, and let Nara's story help you drift into a peaceful sleep. Please like and subscribe. Episode 2. Nara the Capybara. In the lowland wetlands of northern Brazil, where slow rivers wind through grassland and forest, a group of capybaras lives along the banks of a quiet tributary of the Rio Negro. Nara is already awake before the sun rises. She sits quietly on the edge of a still, reed-lined riverbank. Her fur is damp with dew, and the temperature is cool, though not cold. The light is dim, but her senses are tuned. Capybaras are crepuscular, meaning they are most active during dawn and dusk. She lowers her head and pulls a clump of coarse river grass between her large, blunt teeth. Her jaws move rhythmically from side to side, chewing slowly. Capybaras are strict herbivores. They feed on a wide variety of grasses, reeds, aquatic plants, and sometimes fruits or soft tree bark. Nara's teeth, like all rodents, grow continuously. They are kept in check by constant grinding and wear during feeding. Her digestive system is adapted for high-fiber diets. She uses hindgut fermentation with a large cecum that helps break down cellulose. To aid digestion, capybaras practice coprophagy, the re-ingestion of soft feces to extract additional nutrients. This occurs mostly in private, often during quiet midday periods. By now, the sun has begun to rise above the water's edge. The light reflects off the surface, and the air starts to warm. Nara eases herself into the river. She is an excellent swimmer. Capybaras have partially webbed feet, and their bodies are dense and barrel-shaped, making them stable in the water. She paddles silently across to a clump of floating vegetation. Her eyes, ears, and nostrils sit high on her head, allowing her to remain mostly submerged. This adaptation helps her stay alert while exposing as little of her body as possible. Even when resting, she can keep watch for signs of movement or danger. Capybaras, including Nara, are highly social animals. Although she often wanders alone at dawn, she is rarely far from her group. A typical capybara group contains around 10 to 20 individuals, but in wetter seasons, numbers can swell to 40 or more. Groups are structured around a dominant male, with multiple females, subordinate males, and young of various ages. Nara is a mid-ranking female. She is neither dominant nor submissive, but maintains peaceful relations within the group. Social grooming is common. Nara often shares mutual grooming with other females, nibbling gently at the fur around the neck and back. This behavior helps to reinforce bonds and reduce tension. On land, Nara walks with slow, deliberate steps. Capybaras have short, strong legs and hoof-like claws that provide grip on muddy terrain. Their toes are splayed and slightly webbed. She moves easily along narrow game trails worn into the grass, following paths she has walked many times. Throughout the morning, Nara alternates between grazing and resting. She prefers open areas where she can feed with a clear view of her surroundings. Her vision is adequate, but she relies more on her hearing and scent. Capybaras communicate with a range of vocalizations including clicks, whistles, purrs and barks, each with a specific social function. Nara's own vocalizations are usually soft. When separated from the group, she may emit a low, bird-like whistle. At other times she produces a short purr while resting, a sound thought to signal contentment. Barks are used as alarms, and while Nara rarely uses them herself, she is quick to respond when others do. As the sun rises higher, the temperature increases. By midday, it is often too hot to remain active. Nara finds a patch of shade beneath a thicket of low shrubs. She lies down on her side, exposing her belly to the cool earth. Capybaras do not sweat, so they regulate body temperature by seeking shade or entering water. During the hottest hours, she sleeps lightly. Her ears twitch at the sound of insects, and her sides rise and fall with slow, steady breaths. Occasionally, she wakes and shifts position, then resumes resting. This midday torpor helps conserve energy during the most demanding part of the day. In the late afternoon, activity resumes. The air is still warm, but the light begins to soften. Nara walks to a shallow inlet where water plants grow thick and abundant. She plunges her head beneath the surface and bites off submerged stems. Her nostrils close when underwater, and she can hold her breath for several minutes. Feeding in water has several advantages. It allows her to avoid the heat, and many aquatic plants are rich in minerals. Capybaras also use the water as a place of refuge. If startled, they can dive quickly and remain hidden beneath the surface, surfacing only to breathe. As she feeds, others from the group gather nearby. Young capybaras wade clumsily, while older ones settle into the shallows. The group spreads out, but individuals remain loosely connected. Nara interacts calmly with others, occasionally nudging or stepping aside to avoid conflict. Capybaras do not defend exclusive territories, but they do maintain a home range. This includes areas for feeding, resting, wallowing, and mating. They mark the area using scent glands located on their noses and anal region. Nara, as a female, has a less developed nasal gland, but still participates in scent marking. As dusk begins to fall, the sounds of insects grow louder. Birds call from the trees, and the river darkens. Nara moves slowly back to a favorite resting area near the water. The grass is flattened into a wide circle, a communal bedding site used by many members of the group. She lowers her body into the grass and becomes still. Others settle around her. Some sleep, while others remain alert, ears flicking and heads raised. Capybaras are vulnerable to several predators, so one or more group members usually stay awake. Nara closes her eyes for short intervals, then opens them again. She shifts her body once, then becomes quiet. The heat of the day has faded, and the air is cool once more. She has grazed, rested, swum, groomed and socialized. This is the rhythm of her life, simple, regular, and precise. The dry season arrives. The river has shrunk slightly, revealing muddy banks and shallow pools fringed with reeds. This is the time of year when capybaras often give birth. Nara has been pregnant for 5 months. The gestation period for capybaras ranges from 150 to 160 days. Her body has become heavier, her movements slower, but she remains close to water and continues to feed throughout the day. There are no nests or burrows. Capybaras give birth on dry ground, often choosing open, grassy areas for better visibility. One quiet afternoon, with the rest of the group nearby, Nara delivers her young. There are 4 of them. This is typical. Capybara litters usually contain between 2 and 8 pups, with 4 being the average. The young are born fully furred and with their eyes open. Each weighs just over 1 kilo. They are well developed and capable of standing within an hour. Within a day, they are walking, exploring, and grazing on soft grass. Although they begin nibbling vegetation almost immediately, they still depend on their mother's milk. Nara nurses them several times each day. Capybaras have 4 teats, and the young nurse both in standing and lying positions. In capybara groups, all females may assist in caring for the young. This is known as alloparenting. If several females give birth around the same time, the young often form a creche, a shared group of juveniles looked after collectively. The pups are not restricted to their biological mothers when suckling. Nara's own litter mingles with others, and it is common for them to nurse from any receptive female in the group. The first few weeks are critical. The young must learn to stay close to the group and respond to alarm signals. At the first bark from an adult, they freeze or run toward cover. Nara is alert during this time, remaining near the water and frequently glancing around while her young feed. By 2 weeks of age, the pups are more agile. Their legs strengthen and they can run short distances. They follow Nara closely, imitating her movements, and begin to learn feeding routes. Capybaras are precocial, meaning they are born relatively mature, but they still require time to build endurance and coordination. Communication is vital. The pups produce high-pitched whistles when separated, and soft contact calls when feeding or resting. Nara responds to these sounds with quiet vocalizations of her own. Over time, the young begin to recognize the signals used by different adults, and they learn when to stay, when to flee, and when to follow. Capybaras spend a significant amount of time resting in contact with one another. The pups lie close to Nara and sometimes climb onto her back while she rests. This physical closeness is typical of group members and plays a role in strengthening bonds. The young learn to engage in mutual grooming, beginning with nibbling movements around the head and shoulders. At 3 weeks, the pups spend longer in the water. They paddle cautiously at first, staying in the shallows. Nara enters the river with them and sometimes leads them across short stretches. Capybara young are born with the instincts to swim, but they must learn how to navigate currents, find footing, and stay calm when submerged. By the end of their first month, their milk intake decreases. Plant material becomes their primary food source. However, their digestive systems are still developing. To improve nutrient absorption, they begin practicing coprophagy. This behavior, already present in adults, allows them to extract more nutrition from high-fiber diets. During the second month, the young explore more widely. They graze alongside older animals and begin to understand social hierarchies. Minor disputes occur, especially over food or resting spots. Nara intervenes occasionally, but allows her pups to experience low-level conflicts. These encounters help establish their position within the group. Between 3 and 4 months of age, the young begin to explore independently for short periods. They still return to Nara often and sleep near her at night. At this stage, individual personalities begin to emerge. Some are bolder, venturing further from the group, while others remain cautious and stay close to known areas. As they grow, their appearance changes gradually. The soft fur of early weeks thickens and darkens. The body becomes more robust, the head more square. By 6 months, they resemble small adults in shape and movement, though they are still smaller in size. Nara continues to show tolerance and occasional grooming behavior toward her young. However, she also resumes full participation in the social structure of the group. This includes interaction with the dominant male, maintaining her place in the female hierarchy, and regular movement along the group's home range. By 7 to 8 months, the juveniles are no longer nursing. They forage independently and follow the group on daily routes. They have learned to identify safe resting areas, feeding spots, and common wallows. They respond correctly to vocal cues and participate in social behaviors, including grooming and submission gestures. Sexual maturity in capybaras is reached between 12 and 18 months, depending on environmental conditions. Males typically mature later than females. Although Nara's young will remain with the group for now, males may leave in the following year, either voluntarily or through displacement, while others live on the edges of established territories. For Nara, the parenting process ends gradually. There is no single moment of separation. Instead, the young become less dependent over time, until one day they are simply part of the group, no longer distinguished by special treatment or attention. This reproductive cycle repeats seasonally. In regions with consistent water supply, breeding may occur year-round, but in areas with pronounced dry and wet seasons, it is usually synchronized with environmental conditions. Food availability, water access, and group stability all influence reproductive timing and success. For now, Nara rests among her kin. Her latest litter grazes nearby, already feeding independently, already learning the patterns of daily life. The river where Nara lives winds through the Amazon basin. Here, the forest opens into wide stretches of wetland and grassland, shaped by seasonal floods and dry spells. This mixed habitat supports a broad range of life, from fish and frogs in the water, to monkeys, birds, and reptiles in the surrounding trees and undergrowth. Capybaras thrive in areas with permanent access to water and abundant plant life. They are found in a wide range of South American countries, including Brazil, Venezuela, Colombia, Bolivia, and northern Argentina. Within these regions, they prefer lowland environments, swamps, marshes, riverbanks, lake shores, and flooded savannas. The ecosystem Nara inhabits is dynamic. Rainfall patterns dictate the flow of rivers, the spread of vegetation, and the movements of many animals. During the wet season, floodwaters rise and spread across the plains. New grasses grow rapidly, and aquatic plants flourish. During the dry season, the water retreats into narrower channels, concentrating life around shrinking pools. Capybaras are well adapted to both conditions. Their webbed feet and swimming ability allow them to move easily through flooded areas, while their grazing habits let them take full advantage of fresh grasses and sedges that grow along receding banks. Their ability to digest fibrous plants gives them access to food sources many other animals cannot efficiently use. Nara's presence, and the presence of her group, has effects that reach beyond their immediate needs. As grazers, capybaras help manage vegetation growth. By feeding on fast-growing grasses and trampling down dense undergrowth near water sources, they open up small pathways and resting clearings that benefit other species, such as smaller rodents, ground-dwelling birds, and amphibians. Their droppings add nutrients to the soil and to the water, enriching the habitat for invertebrates. This supports the food web at multiple levels, including fish, insectivorous birds, and even plant communities that benefit from enhanced soil chemistry. Capybaras therefore contribute to the cycling of energy and matter in the ecosystems they inhabit. They also serve as prey for several large predators. In the Amazon, capybaras are hunted by jaguars, caimans, anacondas, and ocelots. In some areas, large birds of prey may take juveniles. Their size and alertness reduce the number of successful attacks, but they remain an important food source for many carnivores. In response to these threats, capybaras rely heavily on group vigilance. When resting or grazing, individuals take turns scanning the environment. Their vocal alarms, including sharp barks, alert the group to possible danger. Most attacks are countered with rapid escape into the water, where capybaras can submerge for several minutes. This dependence on water makes them sensitive to changes in hydrology. Seasonal shifts are natural, but prolonged droughts or the drainage of wetland areas can leave groups with limited resources and higher vulnerability. Capybaras are known for their tolerance of other species. They often feed, rest, or travel near a variety of animals without showing alarm or territorial behavior. In parts of Brazil, it is common to see capybaras lying calmly while small birds perch on their backs, picking off ticks and insects. These birds, such as wattled jacanas or caracaras, benefit from easy access to both food and vantage points. Capybaras tolerate their presence and may benefit in return through reduced parasite loads. At watering holes and feeding grounds, capybaras are often seen alongside marsh deer, turtles, herons, and even caimans. While they do not interact directly with most of these animals, they show little fear unless movement signals danger. This tolerance is part of what gives capybaras their reputation as unusually sociable. It is not that they seek out other species for companionship, but that they coexist peacefully without displays of aggression or avoidance. In human-altered environments, this same tolerance sometimes leads capybaras into parks, farms, and urban wetlands. They adapt well to manicured lawns, irrigation canals, and ornamental lakes. However, this brings risks. Collisions with vehicles, exposure to pesticides, and encroachment from domestic animals can impact survival. In agricultural regions, capybaras may be viewed as pests. They can damage crops by grazing, and their droppings may accumulate near water sources used by livestock. In response, some communities have attempted to control populations through hunting or relocation. Despite these pressures, capybaras are currently listed as a species of least concern by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN. Their wide distribution, large overall population, and adaptability contribute to this status. In some regions, they are legally hunted for meat and hide, but these activities are regulated to maintain sustainable numbers. Conservation efforts focus primarily on habitat protection. However, this brings risks. Wetlands are among the most threatened ecosystems in the world due to drainage for agriculture, infrastructure development, and pollution. Preserving the health of rivers, marshes, and floodplains benefits not only capybaras, but also thousands of species that depend on these systems. Some local projects encourage coexistence by educating communities on the ecological roles of capybaras, offering alternatives to conflict, and supporting ecotourism that values wildlife without exploitation. In managed areas, monitoring capybara populations can also serve as an indicator of environmental health, since changes in their numbers or behavior may signal broader shifts in ecosystem balance. In captivity, capybaras are kept in zoos and sanctuaries around the world. They are valued for their calm demeanor and relatively low maintenance needs. However, captive settings must replicate their need for water access, social interaction, and space to roam. Isolation, lack of water, or poor diet can lead to stress-related behaviors and health issues. Back in the wetlands of northern Brazil, Nara lives as part of an unstudied population, untouched by monitoring programs, unaffected by artificial boundaries. She grazes, she swims, she raises young, and rests among reeds and grasses. The land supports her, and she in turn supports the balance of life around her. There are threats in the distance, changing climate, encroaching development, but for now, her world is stable. It is this quiet interdependence, not extraordinary behavior or rarity, that gives the capybara its significance. It lives not at the center, but in the calm, steady margins of the wild. Thank you for joining me tonight on Natural History Nights. For the rest of the hour, enjoy the calming sounds of nature. Wherever you are, I hope the quiet rhythms of the natural world bring you a little peace as you drift off to sleep. From both of us, Nara and me, rest well, sleep deeply, and until next time, good night.